like building a house and you had to dig the foundations, you had to do your due diligence to have a beautiful house? Have you done that? I believe very many of us have done it, and I believe the kind of buildings that have come are as a result of that beautiful job that we did at the foundations. Similarly, for a human being, the foundations are very important. And yes, my name is Rosemary, your sister in growth, and welcome to this YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Yes, now, childhood foundations, very, very important. Ideally, a child is supposed to come into a beautiful, loving environment. They're supposed to be waited for with a lot of joy. They're supposed to be prepared for, just like the building you're building, that beautiful home you've always wanted to build. Similarly, children are supposed to come into the world like that. Unfortunately, kwa grau vitu ni different. That is not what happens. Some children come into the world and they are not expected. They are not accepted. They come as a distraction. They come and stop the life of a mother. My goodness, they mess everything about these particular people. And the children, sadly, do take the energy, the negative energy, the challenges of the parents. They are taken in by the children. The children do not really understand that, you know what, it's because mommy was stressed. It's because mommy was going through something. They do not know. So what happens is that child absorbs what has been going on. I have constantly been telling people how a child is like a sponge. If you get into my programs, I always will remember to say that a child is like a sponge. And this sponge, it receives everything you tell it, everything. You pour water, you squeeze in some water into the sponge, it will accept. Squeeze in some soup into the sponge, it will absorb. You squeeze in some ink, it will absorb. You squeeze in some bad and good things, clean and dirty water, it will absorb. And then, when you will try to lift it, it will be very heavy. You will have to lift it with both your hands and really try to hold it so nicely, lest it messes your house if you had put it on a table or somewhere. Similarly, that's what a child is. In their very foundational part of their lives, from 0 to 7 years, they are like that sponge. They absorb everything and they take it as the truth. They take it as the truth. When a child learns and they are called useless, they take useless as the truth. They actually believe that they are useless. When they cry, this is something very important. A child cries and nobody takes it. The child realizes, you know what? Nobody cares. The world doesn't care. In fact, it is because I'm not accepted. It is because I'm not good enough. In fact, my cry is irrelevant. And guess what happens? This child will adopt a coping mechanism. So that when they cry and there's nobody to pick them up, they will suckle the finger. Because the finger suits them for creation or for human beings. It was for us to bond. When I cry, someone was supposed to pick me up and cuddle me. Unfortunately, that is not the reality for very many children. And guess what? Children grow up with that. Some children will grow up with an interesting attachment. They cling. They become very clingy. You wonder, why is this adult very clingy? Because I always say, when you talk about children, I always like to shift it very fast to the adult child. Yes, you are a child who underwent several things. Those things affected you. And now as an adult, you are not living. Look at a child who was always left. Always left. There's a story is told of this particular child who, the mother had gone back to school and the child had been left in the care of the grandmother. And the child would be left in the bedroom as the grandmother would go either to tend to her animals, to go to the shamba, to go to the market, to go visit somebody. And the child, quote unquote, raised herself. So this child knows that people will leave. She knows he or she is going to live by themselves all the time. So such a child is a child who you try to get close to them, they push you away. They desire to have people close to them, but they do not know how to have them close, so they rather stay away. And then when you meet this adult, you wonder why they cannot commit to any relationship. You wonder why they cannot keep a job. You wonder why they cannot keep a friendship. And then when they're trying to keep friendship, they get very, very I would say they can get misused because they will do anything to have you stay. Because everybody would leave, please stay. This person becomes clingy. When this person becomes clingy, the other individual who they are in a relationship with, in a friendship with, gets tired. And when they get tired, they leave them. Alright? When they leave them, it confirms to them that, you know what, you're not good enough, adult child. You're not good enough, and that is why even this friend you had to leave. Because imagine you're not good enough. Remember, even your mother would leave you. That story, I just used that story to think, to just do a nice, very good depiction of that. We have others who start to do, I call it surrogate parenting. Your parents were there, but because you're the first child and your parents were working, you were left with the responsibility of raising other people, raising your siblings, taking care of your siblings, cooking for your siblings. Some people will tell us, I was proudly able to cook at 10. You know, I would take care of my siblings at 10 years. Yes, well done. I clap for you, good firstborn. But look at your quality of life today. How old are your children? What kind of a spouse are you? Are you the kind of spouse who neglects their responsibilities in your own home and goes to take care of your siblings? Do you take care of everybody else but you? And by you, I mean you, your partner, and your children. It's because you're used to taking care of everybody else and you would come in last. And that makes you even end up becoming a bitter person, because you will say, I took care of my siblings when they were in school, when they were young. I paid their school fees. I delayed marriage so that they can go to school. I brought them all into my house. In fact, in your marriage, your first 5 years were very bad because your siblings had to come. Where were they supposed to go? Even your mother would come because your mother, she suffered a lot raising you up. So you're an adult who's dysfunctional because of experiences you had as a child. At 10 years, you're not supposed to be taking care of siblings. You are supposed to be being raised up. But you know what, as I always say, these things did not happen to us because our parents were irresponsible. No. These things happened to us because of the circumstances we were growing up in and even the experiences our parents had. So before we judge them, let us look at them and ask ourselves, do we know what they were going through? Do we know what was happening? So that was it. Another thing is that, did your parent was in a not so healthy relationship, and that has resulted into the person that you are in. The familiar things to you are lack of love, shouting, war, because your mother, from when you were conceived until very late into your childhood, your mother was in a violent relationship, or she was in a home where there was no peace, where there were shoutings and shoutings. You are prone to violence. You even had your parent actually, it is called intimate partner violence. There was intimate partner violence where you were growing up. That affected you. And today, you actually become a person who is very violent to your partner. It's because that is what you know. You even don't understand why the girlfriend you have is having an issue with you slapping her. Yet your father would slap your mother all the time. You see, that affected. It was put in your subconscious programming. The foundation of a child is very important. How a child grows up is very important. Now, I want to say something very, very important here. As a child, as a parent, because many of the people who are watching this video are either they're just about to become parents or they're already parents. If you underwent adverse childhood experiences, which I will be teaching in the next video, or which I'll be talking about in the next video, unless you heal those wounds, first you acknowledge, you say, yes, it is true, there has been pain, you accept, and once you allow that pain to be true, to be real, you acknowledge, yes, I had underwent challenges, I had issues growing up, and those issues have been affecting me because, of course, you have looked at the quality of life you're living, your relationship, your body, illnesses. Yes, illnesses. When you go through trauma, those adverse childhood experiences, they are traumatic. They affect the body. And today you may be healthy, but maybe later in life it may come up because that trauma, that it is there. It has only not manifested. So your health, your finances, your relationships, your career, how do you grow? What is your relationship with your money? Are you so stingy with money? And people don't understand how you're so loaded yet very stingy. Where you're not happy, you're always complaining, you're such a pessimist. You're such a pessimist. You see the glass not even there. Not half empty, not half full. I say there's somebody who says the glass is half empty. And is someone who's pessimistic. Another one is an optimist. They say the glass is half full. There's another one that the glass has water. Another one says the glass is there. Then you have the other group that is terrible. That is where I used to be. There is no glass. So, is that who you are? Do you look at your life and you're like, no, I'm not happy? If you get, and that is authentically where you're like, I'm not happy. There's something. There's something. As a parent, you can't then begin parenting because, unfortunately, the only thing you will pass is what you know. And it is actually what you know subconsciously. Not what you know consciously, not what you plan to know, not what you read in a book in the morning and try to deliver it to the children. No. It is what you know, very subconsciously, that you don't even plan to teach your children. I'll give an example. A mother grew up being called mujinga. Actually, a mother and father grew up being called mujinga or a fool. You're such a fool, you're such an idiot. This parent now has their children. They cannot resist using the word fool and idiot. And one wonders, but I thought Rosemary is even born again. I think Rosemary should know better. No. Rosemary could know better, but subconsciously, it is that idiot fool that is there. So it's very, very important to look at how you grew up before you can even think of how you're parenting. Before you can even, actually not before you can think of what you're parenting, before you parent, it is very important to look at your foundation before you become a parent. It is very important to look at your foundations before you become a leader. Because if you become a leader with the wounds of your childhood, the saddest part is that you will become a serial wounder. You will constantly wound people that you meet because you only know wounding. If you become a man of the cloth, that is I'm Christian, so I will use Christianity. If you become a pastor, a reverend, an evangelist, whoever you are, you will constantly wound people because that is what you know. And you will not look at people with love and compassion. And you will not look at people and acknowledge that, yes, people struggle. And when people struggle, there is healing because there is an open space. There is great healing that exists. You can heal from those wounds. You will never understand why people just can't take control of their lives. That is why you will say, a pastor will say, or a person, an influential person will say, people should. Single people should. When you have a lot of shoulds, and men should, or women do, those are wounds speaking, because you think people should live a certain way. But even for you, it is hard because it is not your normal. It is not your default. Your default is they're not so nice. When you see yourself as that individual, the best thing to do is to get into your life, heal those wounds, some very serious healing. And the beauty is that immediately after that, you will become a different individual. You will be able to work towards people's healing. You will teach people, you will work with people with love. You will realize that we are one body, just in different colors and tribes and religions and everything. You will realize the togetherness or the oneness of human beings when you're a healed individual. So, one thing I want to have you guys take home is, yes, look at your foundations. How was it growing up? If you would want guidance or guidance as you to walk that journey, you can put a comment down there and we shall take that journey together. And let me tell you, it doesn't care. Childhood wounds do not care. Your foundation does not care what kind of building you have put up at you. You could have put a magnificent building, but the foundation is weak. It will still get that house crumbling. When the winds come, and they will come. When the rains come, and the rains will come. I can assure you, you will not. Life is not a straight line. Life is full of beautiful seasons. Sometimes it's summer, it's awesome, it's beautiful, there's the sun. Then it's winter, it's dark, it's cold. Oh my God, it's autumn, it's spring. Seasons will be there for everybody. And the one way to navigate through the different seasons is when you're a healed individual. You will acknowledge, embrace the different seasons with grace. So yes, there's chances of healing, there are opportunities of healing. Don't allow yourself to live your life miserable, to live your life thinking you're not good enough. Embrace healing and you will be a happy individual. Kindly subscribe, kindly comment, kindly like, and let's get this going. And thank you very much and have a lovely week. See you next Saturday. Bye-bye.